guys, it's me again, your girl. How have you been? It's been so long. Karibuni sana. If you're new to this channel, this is Terry's World, and we're all about motivation. Kindly start by subscribing if you haven't subscribed and hit that notification bell. So guys, I know it's been long, but I've been up to a lot of things. I've been trying to clear up some things. Like I had mentioned in my previous vlogs, I was doing a master's degree in Kenya, in a university called Thesis University, the Valley Road campus. And I was doing a study, and so it happens that I've had a long process winding up on it. But finally, my black book is out. This is the black book. I don't know if you can read it clearly, but I'm going to read it to you. The study was on the role of corporate branding on the Students' Choice Master's Degree programs, a case of 2 selected universities in Nairobi. So today I just want to take you through the process of writing a thesis in Kenya or doing higher education in Kenya. That is a master's degree, because we term a bachelor's degree as a startup to after you do your high school. Some people it's a diploma, some people it's a certificate, some people get from a certificate, go to a diploma or a degree. Some people come from high school and begin from a diploma, others begin from a degree. So kudos to you if you have done all of that and you're looking forward into doing a master's degree. So guys, this is it. So this book or this thesis is written by me. This is my name right here. I know it's inverted because the camera is on this other side. Terry Ruth Wanjiko Maridim. I'm gonna do for you a picture of the thesis along this video. And it was published as a 2021 because that's when it went through the process. So I began my journey of writing this thesis in 2017. I know most of you will ask me how comes now, the same kind of topic, and you have never finished. It was a lot of work. You begin in many African universities, or rather in DESTA in particular, because that's where I studied. You begin by choosing a topic that is related to the specialization course you're doing. So my master's degree was Master of Arts in Communication, specialization in corporate communication. You can do either, you can specialize in media studies, in corporate communication, or in development communication. So I chose corporate communication because I wanted to work in the corporate world, stuff to do with NGOs and all of that. It's quite related to international relations for those who also do an MA in international relations. So I began from there. I did one topic and I wrote up to chapter 3. That's a proposal, and it was dumped. What I mean by dumped is it was scrapped away. I was told that is not related to my specialization. I did another and another. 3 of them were scrapped out, and I had to begin again. Just fast forward or going back, you start from choosing supervisors. At that time in 2017, when I finished my coursework, I began in 2016, I finished my coursework in 2017 August. So you begin by choosing a supervisor. By that time we needed 2 supervisors. So I had an idea of who I wanted to be my supervisor. He was someone who taught me in my previous university, Multimedia University, for my undergraduate. And because I met him here, I thought it was wise enough that he would guide me through my thesis, because a supervisor is to hold your hand and take you through the thesis until it's done. So he happened to be the registrar of this university. He couldn't take me through it as my first supervisor, so he asked me to allow him to be the second supervisor, and I would have to choose a first supervisor. So the thesis coordinator, someone who's in charge of the thesis documents here in my university, is called a thesis coordinator. That's the title of that person. Was the one to choose for me a supervisor. So I could only have a leeway of choosing one, and she chose for me the second one. and it happened to be a lady, and the registrar was a man. Yeah, so we began the journey, and that is where the three thesis documents or topics were withdrawn, like I had mentioned earlier. Yeah, so we moved on and we chose one topic. It was actually on exactly what I wrote in this final document, corporate branding, on how students end up choosing master's degree programs in universities in Kenya. At first, I chose 5 universities. If I remember well, it was UN, Leicester, JKUAT, Moi University, and Kenyatta University. There were 5 of them. So it was a bit cumbersome going to collect data because they had to get to a stage where you collect data from all of these universities. So my supervisor advised me that if I would narrow it down, I narrowed it down to 3 universities. I was left with Moi, UN, and Leicester. So when you finish your first 3 chapters, you go to a defense, which is the first defense, proposal defense. That is the 3 first chapters. So I went to my first defense. I remember it was in 2019, somewhere in November. I did my, not in November, it was in August. It was in November. I'm trying to remember, guys. We wanted to celebrate my dad's commemoration, or just a remembrance of him from when he passed on. It was 20 years then, because he passed on in 1998. I was quite young then. So yeah, my hopes were all high because I was looking forward to pass. Unfortunately, I didn't. And the reason was that my supervisor told me I wasn't confident enough. I wasn't able to express all my ideas to the examiners. In a defense, there has to be 2 other people who are called examiners who listen to what you have to say. A defense is more of kujitetea. I know Kenyans or someone who understands Kiswahili will be able to understand what kujitetea is. It's like convincing the examiner of that I understand my paper, I understand this topic, what it's all about. So yeah, they weren't convinced that I did well, and so yes, I failed. And that crushed me. It crushed me a lot. I felt like crying. Of course I did. I literally cried, and I was down, especially on the following day. The thesis defense happens on a Friday. The commemoration was on a Saturday. So I was to travel. And I was so down even on traveling because I was looking forward to pass and travel in a sober mood or in a good mood. So my moods were down, and I remember my supervisor called me even on the day of the commemoration to just ask me how I was going on. I thank God that she was good enough and she was able to even pray for me through the process. So yeah, that was it. And after a defense, you're given corrections, and I went through the corrections and I gave them back to my supervisors. And when you fail, you have to be set for another proposal defense. So after my corrections, it took about a month, I think, so because the corrections were quite huge. Actually, I remember one of the examiners was really tough, and yeah, I think she was into research and was the head of research in this university. So yeah, I gave in my corrections, and I was set for a second defense, but this time around with 2 other different examiners by the same supervisors. So these examiners listened through to everything I had to say because it was kind of fresh. I had to rearrange what my topic was, and the methodology and all of that, and how I would approach my data collection in the universities. I would look into collecting data. They were convinced and I passed, and I did the corrections, and I applied for the ERB certificate, Ethics Review Board certificate, which comes from the particular university you're studying in. Then I applied for the NACOSTI, National Commission of Scientific Research. I'm not gonna mix up my words, but it's NACOSTI. certificate, and I was allowed to do my studies. So this time around, I was doing my studies in two universities, Daystar University and Nairobi University. So when you're doing a study somewhere, you have to get permission. And so I sought for a letter, or rather I requested for a letter from the registrar of Daystar University, and they wrote me a letter. And also went to UN, where in the research office and the head of research, and they wrote me a letter as well. So up and about, I did my research in Daystar University. I used to go during the night or during the evening before the students start on their classes. Sometimes wait until they finish, or sometimes arrange with the class reps who would get numbers from to hand me over the questionnaires. So yeah, that was it. So come to my final defense after the corrections now and doing the chapter 4 and 5. Yeah, and I handed in my document. It was well done. My supervisors agreed with it. And yes, I now came to the final end of the trip. Yes, and I was set for my defense in November 2020. So I was going for my final defense, and the graduation was happening at the same time in November, because Corona was still in, and now we had shifted from doing two graduations in June and November, and we were left with one. So yes, I was set for November 2020 defense, and I thought I'm gonna make it. Blast on me when I get into the room of the defense through Zoom. I see my previous examiners. I don't know if that's correct English, but the former examiners who took me through the first defense where I failed. So yes, they listened into what I had to present, and of course I had to begin from chapter 1 to chapter 5. So they disagreed at some point, especially with my methodology. And of course corrections came in, but the verdict was that I passed. I had to do corrections. So up and about, I did my corrections, but my supervisor told me these corrections need time. I need to sit down with you and go through the corrections. But I told my supervisor, I've been waiting for this thing for a very long time. So I was stressed up, and we had to make time for the corrections, because I told her I'm going to give up on this thing if I don't make it for the November graduation. And yes, I remember one time we even stayed in her office up to 10 p.m. doing the corrections. I also went to her house because she was not feeling well, we had to go through the paper. Unfortunately, the graduation came and I did not make it to pass. Just to mention, I also visited the VC's, the Vice Chancellor's office. Here our VC currently is Professor Airo. He still is in 2020. We are in 2021 right now. I visited his office. So yeah, I was crushed. I did not make it. And so November comes, graduation is done, and I first went to a standstill. But of course I had handed in my corrections to the supervisors. But then a hold kind of came in where people were not responsive, because the examiners really wanted to go through whatever corrections I had to do after the corrections of the final defense, but yet I had failed. The normal way is that when people fail and when people pass defenses, they give back their corrections to the supervisors and they're given a leeway, and then they go ahead to take the book to the library. So I wasn't able to do that. And so come January, a spirit just came into me and my hope was revived. Like we talk about here in Terry's world, it's all about giving yourself hope and revamping yourself, dusting yourself up, and coming back to your senses. So yeah, I went back to school in January and came back and talked to my supervisors, and my supervisors were responsive. Of course, my very first supervisor was more responsive because they have more mandate in terms of assisting the students. So I happened to finish everything in July, and she allowed me to go to the library and both of them gave me signatures. So there I took in my documents in August. That's when I submitted my document, my bound spiral document to the library. And then in the library, I stuck there for 2 months until the librarian said, now we're okay and you can move on and print your black books. Yeah, my black books. So you're supposed to print 6 copies, 2 you give your supervisors, 2 you give to the library. My supervisors were 2, so 1. To library, those are 4. Remain with 2. 1 is yours, 1 is for Nakosti. The company, or rather the parastatal that is in charge of allowing researches to be done in Kenya. So yeah, that was it. Finally, my journey ended that way. And today, 12th October, I received this slip. It's a clearance form from the library. It states, I, Terry Ruth Wanjiku, student number of the graduation class of 2021, do hereby confirm that I submitted the required number of copies of my thesis plus a soft copy to the library, confirmed by the librarian, signature, and then the dates. I thank God for this journey. It's been a long one. But guys, this is just to give you hope. I know many of people who do their master's degrees or PhDs in Kenya may have a lot of delays. We do not sometimes understand why the journey derails. Everyone has their story. For me, I feel like the delay came in when I failed in my first defense. I could not understand. I started having hate on my examiners. These were people I worked with. These are people who had taught me in class. But what I would ask each one of us, or anyone who does aspire to do a master's degree, especially in Kenya, let's try and not take it personally. Just do your thing. Ensure you have done whatever is required. Follow the instructions, and you will get there. So now I'm waiting to get. I took this 1 copy to the registrar so that my name may be processed and put in the graduation list, which will appear hopefully next week. So guys, by next week, my name, God willing, is gonna be appearing there as Terry Ruth Wanjiku, MA Communication Specialization into bracket Corporate Communication, and it's gonna all be happening in Athi River. We've been written an email where they've allowed all graduates to appear physically, but if you want, you can also appear online for the graduation. Parents are gonna, or guardians or friends, anyone, relatives who wants to follow up on the graduation can follow up that online, streamed online from by Daystar University. It's gonna happen on 12th November, my big day, 2021. This has been the year I've been waiting for since I began my master's degree in 2016. I mean, it's all about hope. Just never give up. That's my prayer for you. And today I'll leave you with this word that let's keep trusting on God and believing that what we do will one day open up to something great. I mean, I really wanted to get this master's degree, and sometimes I feel like people like me who, for example, have never been formally employed, we got our degree and ended up seeing that maybe getting a master's degree will give you a better opportunity. But now with the current situation also, many more people have graduated. Even this year, the menace is still continuing. I wrote an article on that. Like I told you, I sent commentaries to editors, hopefully to be published. I also write it on my blog. Kindly check it up and subscribe and follow me, terryruthwanjiku.blogspot.com. Let's keep doing this thing. Let's keep encouraging each other. Keep encouraging yourself. Be your own champion. Like that sounds familiar. My champions. Yeah, guys, I love you. I'm gonna leave it at that. So, guys, I'm just celebrating this day. This week has been very awesome for me. So your joy is gonna come. There's some people who've also missed out on this, who feel like they'll miss out on this graduation, especially those who defended in September and in October and did not be able to make it to the mark at the deadline. So guys, keep your hope alive. Remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you have anyone who's losing hope, kindly ask them to watch this channel, copy paste to them the link, ask them to subscribe. Many more stuff is coming up. I'm your girl, Terry. Until next time. Ciao. Take care of yourself. Bye.